This video is going to demonstrate how to use the expense processing add-on in Xtuple. Navigate to Purchase, Custom, and go to Expense Request or Expense Request Creation depending on how you've renamed the option. Once you click the option, you'll be presented with a screen where you can click a new request. Once you click a new request, you'll be provided with a request description which is required to be added on. We will call it a test RFQ. We will not add the vendor. We could add some notes. We'll go to the line. We will click new on the line. If we use the inventory line, we must specify a project, and then we can actually search for any item that we want. Once you put that in, you can put a quantity in, you can put a price or leave it blank as long as you put a 0 in there, put a date. You can hunt for the source using the item source, and once you click save, it adds a record, and if you click save, that request is set. So you have a couple options. If you highlight this, then you can click quote request. What that's going to allow us to do is actually bring up the quote, we can move it over here, and then we can click print. That is going to generate a RFQ. Let me add this, 1 second. And what this is going to give us is a printout that can be modified, of course, that is going to show the basic information needed to request for a quote. Once that's complete, you click save. Notice the status will change to quote requested. You could leave it here, wait for the information to come back. You could then highlight it, come back to it, and edit the request. You could then add the vendor information at that time, change some information. So let's add the vendor here. We'll just pick one, doesn't matter. I'll say please buy this. The line stays the same. All the information we could modify as we needed. You click save. You could then, at this point, you need to have this approved to move to the next step. So what you would do is you'd close here, you'd go back to Purchase, Custom, and Expense Processing or Approvals, depending how you've renamed it. You highlight this, you acknowledge this request, and say, yes, I do want to do this. You could then, or you didn't have to do that, you could have just transferred right to a PO, could transfer the PO, highlight the lines that you want to transfer, click create. This creates a purchase order down here, could then can be modified just as standard. Xtuple will allow you to modify a PO. Notice the information has been brought in from the vendor, the items in here, the information has been transferred over as requested. Click save. You've released the PO. Could then of course print the PO, and that provides us a request. The other options here too are if we went back to Purchase, Custom, the Expense Request Creation, we can do the same process, and we can use this to quote non-standard items. Okay, and you can have an expense category. That's the only trick here is you need to set up an expense category for what you want to purchase, because it thinks you're going to buy a non-standard item and it needs a way to send it over to Xtuple, but the process would be the same at this point. So that is the simple way to create an expense request to use an Xtuple add-on for the expense request module.